Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. I'm your host, Steve Molloy, and I welcome everyone in tonight for this show. Appreciate you joining in the chat. Make sure as you're coming in, you hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, whatever platform you're watching from, come over here to the YouTube channel on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Look for Real Talk Fins Talk. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button and then share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. So we've had our first joint practice today in Washington. We had a joint practice with the Washington Commanders. And we got some good, we've got some bad, we got some ugly. And I'm going to give you a dose of reality. First thing I'm going to talk about, let's talk about the joint practices as a whole. As a whole, the Miami Dolphins held their own. They didn't get bullied. They didn't get beat up. They played, they had a very good practice. They played very well against the Washington Commanders. A lot of things that they're going to have to clean up. The Miami Dolphins have a lot to clean up, and that goes for the Commanders as well. But I'm talking strictly about our Miami Dolphins football team. They've got a lot to clean up. There's going to be, I can see it now. There's going to be a lot of growing pains, a lot of mistakes, a lot of rookie mistakes. Look, guys, we got to face it. We're not the most talented team in football right now. We are not. We've got a few 3-4 players. You got Achan, you got Brewer, Paul and Brooks. And that's about it. That's about it, ladies and gentlemen. And the rest of the guys, I've been saying this over and over again, they're second and third tier players. And with the monies that the dead cap money that we have, and we just don't have the monies to pay, first string players. To be honest with you, these players are all second and third tier players, and I like that. I really do like that because this Halfley and Sullivan. They, hey, how's it going, 305 Sports Show? Appreciate you for joining. Make sure you all go join 305 Sports Show over there. Appreciate you for joining tonight. I mean, it's gonna be a tough season. It's not gonna be, it's gonna be. It's just not going to be what everybody or a lot of folks are hoping that it's going to be, right? We're not going to the playoffs. We're not going to the Super Bowl. None of that. I don't think we're going to be playoff ready for the next. Well, I can't really say that. I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe another 2-3 years, but you never know, right? These coaches on the Miami Dolphins football team, they might develop these rookies. They might be more talented than we expect, and they may get developed. Jonas Savania has taken the guard that we drafted last year, who was the worst guard in football. He has taken a step. Okay, he's taken a step up. He's improved. Now, how much has he improved? That's yet to be determined until we play our first regular season game. Yeah, I agree. We just have to weather the storm. You're right. We definitely just have to weather the storm for sure. So that's a good sign that he's made an improvement there. Again, we don't know how much of an improvement. Is he below average? Is he average? Is he above average? We don't know until they start playing real games. In fact, let's talk about the offensive line as well. I've kind of told you or gave you my opinion and what I've heard, and everything about the team as a whole. They played well. They held their own. Um, they weren't, they didn't get bullied. Let's put it that way, and that's good. That's good. Um, so let's talk about the offensive line. Okay, offensive line. From the reports that I've heard for a lot of media outlets and media personnel, that offensive line needs a lot of work. And you got rookies on there, right? You got Caden Proctor. You've got Jonas Evanaya trying to improve from last year from being the worst guard in the league. Austin Jackson has been hurt. He's coming back off his, I don't know how serious of an injury it was, but he's coming off his injury. Patrick Paul, he's kind of been consistent. Let's just say he's been consistent. He hasn't really made any big strides, but then again, he hasn't regressed either. So that's good. I mean, he's Patrick Paul, and if he can just be Patrick Paul from last year, that's fine. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. But Malik Willis and Quinn Ewers, they were running for their life back there today. It was not pretty, and these weren't design runs by Malik Willis. These were he was scrambling to try to make a play. It wasn't by design. So, hey, how's it going? Appreciate you for joining the show tonight. If you're new, please hit that subscribe button, share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. Caleb Douglas has been very consistent in training camp. He's probably the best receiver right now, other than Malik Washington, who Malik Washington kind of was. He didn't make any noise at all in the joint practices. It was all Caleb Douglas. I think Malik Willis feels very comfortable with Caleb Douglas, and he's a big guy. He's 6'4". He's got a long torso. He can make all kinds of plays. He can stretch out and make some plays. I think he's going to be, and he's a real good route runner. Omar Kelly on the Dolphins Collective today, he was talking about Caleb and said he doesn't know how he gets open, and he's never really watched him. And to be quite frank, I haven't either, really, and I've never really checked out any film. But supposedly he is a good route runner, and I guess he has to be because he's making the plays and making a lot of plays, contested plays, balls as well. So. Yeah, he's moving along. I think he's gonna be our starter along with Malik Willis. I get Malik's all messed up. Malik Washington. So yeah, Caleb Douglas is doing well. Malik Washington is, on any other team, he'd probably be a, second, third wide receiver, but he's going to be our first string wide receiver along with Caleb Douglas. Okay. Will Kazmarek. Yeah. Kazmarek, he's a rookie. Okay. He's made some good blocks against our own players in practice, in training camp. But against the Washington Commanders, you didn't hear his name at all. Didn't really make any noise. And that's understandable. He's a rookie. He has a lot to learn. Ben Sims, our other tight end, is hurt right now, I believe. And again, we have got a second or third tier tight end in Greg Dulcich. He's not a number one. On it, he's not a number one on any other 53-man roster on any other team. He's just not. And he wasn't playing today, I don't believe. Or if he was, I don't think any of our tight ends made any catches today at all. Not one. Not one. Yeah, Dulcich has been getting hyped up. You're right. I agree with you 100%. Look, is he a serviceable tight end? Sure. Will he make some plays? Sure, he'll catch the ball. He's a good receiver, as far as tight ends go. Um, but our tight end group is not good. They're not good at all, and that's concerning me. Hopefully, Kazmarek can develop and make a quick transition to the NFL, and he can be the blocker that we desire, that we need. But right now, he's just he's just hanging in there as a rookie, and we drafted him. He's gonna play this year. Hopefully, he gets his playing time and some experience, and he's gonna make a bunch of mistakes too as well. He's a rookie. We got a lot of rookies on this team. We got a young team. We have the youngest team in the NFL. Average age is like 25.8 years old. The youngest team in the NFL. So we've got to tamper our expectations a little bit. But yeah, I'm concerned with the tight end group. Running backs, I'm not too concerned with. Um, you got Ollie back there. You got Jalen Wright. He's been making some noise in practices, improving in his receiving ability. Of course, we know HN. We know what he's capable of and what he can do. We don't need to see HN in practice. We really don't. Um, yeah, and that's a good point you're making. He Malik Willis doesn't have a lot to work with. He's got a mediocre wide receiver group. Running back is HN, and that's it. That's it. And now, is Caleb Douglas going to turn out to be a good wide receiver? Sure. But beyond that, we don't have anybody else. Tolbert hasn't really been, he was non-existent in practice today, in the joint practices. He's average wide receiver. There's a reason why he didn't start, in Dallas and there's a reason why Tutu Atwell didn't start. Right now, they played games. Sure, they were role players, had a niche in their teams. But Tutu Atwell has been completely silent this whole um, training camp, and he may not even make the team at the rate that he's going right now. But anyway, yeah, tight end group, receiving group, I'm concerned with. Other than Douglas, he's a rookie. I know he's going to make rookie mistakes. He's had some drops in camp, not a lot, but he's had some. But the guy gets open, so I'm happy with his development so far. Malik Willis. Let's talk a little bit about Malik Willis. I think Malik Willis is going to be. I think he's going to be a decent quarterback with the small sample size that we have. From Tennessee and Green Bay, especially Green Bay. Tennessee, he was with an organization that was going through some transition with Ryan Tannehill. Then they drafted Will Levis. So he didn't really get the opportunity, that he did in Green Bay. In Green Bay, he had a more of an opportunity. He was playing with a better organization, better offensive. Well, I don't know if it was. Yeah, it was a better offensive line. Maybe better coaching, just better organization overall, and it showed. When he came in there, he played well. Can't deny he doesn't have a heck of an arm. He's got some hops to him. He can run. Don't want to see him running a whole lot, in the regular season because he's a small quarterback, and small quarterbacks, if they're going to run a lot, I hate to say it, but there's a probability that they can get hurt, and we want him to be healthy the whole season. So hopefully this offensive line can develop and mesh and gel, and they'll be able to block for him, because he needs to be protected back there. If he is going to if we're going to see his full potential, the O-line has to be able to block for him, and the receivers are going to have to get open. There was no separation today with these receivers. Not a lot. Few here and there, times here and there, but not a lot of separation. So, it's that's got to happen. Receivers got to get some separation. O-line's got to, give him time back there to throw the ball. And if that happens, then we might see, a better product in Malik Willis. Okay. But we don't know until the regular season starts. But I like the upside to Malik Willis. I like that he can create off script. I like that he has a rocket arm, and he's a humble guy. And right now, he's taken a leadership role, not forced on him either. He just kind of just organically, it just developed. So I like that. He's talking everything that you want to hear when he gets up there at the podium. So that's what you want to hear in your quarterback. So I like him. Now let's go over to the in depth on the O line, not good, not good at all. Sawyer is still hurt. He hasn't. I don't think we've seen him practice one time because he went down, I believe, in OTAs or mini camp, and he's never recovered. He's still hurt. Dante Trader's hurt. Juju Brits is hurt. Not surprising in Juju Brits. Okay. When the guy's on the field, he's okay. He's good. He's probably one of our best cornerbacks, but the man is always hurt. Excuse me a second. There we go. To turn my phone off. Yeah, he's always hurt. Storm Duck's hurt. Baker's hurt. We've got a lot of injuries, and they keep stacking up, these injuries in this team. We don't have much room for error when it comes to injuries. We don't have much room for injuries because our depth is terrible on both sides of the ball. On both sides of the ball. So let's go to the defense side. The defense struggled today as well. The defensive backfield, cornerbacks, safeties, more so safeties, but cornerbacks as well. They got toasted today. They got toasted. And in order to have a decent defense, number one, we're either going to have some defensive backs or cornerbacks that can cover, that will help out the front line, or we're going to need a front line, right? Defensive front that can put pressure on the quarterback and help out the defensive backs. If we don't have either or, we are in trouble. Because today, the defense got toasted, especially the defensive backs. It's really hard for me to even comment or even make, an evaluation of the defensive backs and the cornerbacks because some of our starters were hurt, right? Now, Michael Taft made a great interception at the end of the game, and he won the game for us in the goal line there, the red zone. He made a tremendous interception, so that was good. But other than that, there's a couple plays here and there, but nothing to write home about. And look, guys, I'm expecting all this. All I want to see in the Miami Dolphins this year is I want to see how these rookies develop. Do they get better? Do they make somewhat of an impact? Not every game, but here and there show flashes. I want to see that, right? I want to see Malik Willis develop and progress throughout the year. I know he's probably going to have struggles in the beginning, as well as the offensive line. I get that. But after 4 or 5 games, I want to see some progress. That's what I want to see. Okay. The win loss record this year is not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the players, the development, and who are we going to keep? Who are we? What needs do we have for next year? That kind of stuff. So that's what I'm looking for. But anyway, the defense, as far as the defensive backs and the cornerbacks, I got to give them a D minus today. Okay. Um, Linebackers, Brooks, again, I don't need to see Brooks on the field, every down. He doesn't need to be on the field. We know how he plays. We know what he can do. He's an all pro, for goodness sakes. J- excuse me. Jacob Rodriguez, the rookie in Texas, we drafted. The dude, I think, is going to be a player, in my opinion. Now, I don't know if he's going to make a big impact this year, but I just have a feeling the way that he's been developing in training camp, he's his trajectory has been going up. Okay. He's been making improvement. He's been progressing. He's probably our starter. I know they had, if you looked at the depth chart before what was it, yesterday? I think they put out the depth chart. Monday or Tuesday, I think they put out the depth chart. They had Rodriguez and not Terrell Dotson, as kind of equal starters. So that's telling me Jacob Rodriguez has the edge on that. And don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if Terrell Dotson doesn't get traded before the season starts. Don't be surprised. Oh, and that's another thing. Zach Sealer was hurt, and he's day to day or week to week, according to Jeff Halfley. That's not good, him being hurt like that. He's our veteran defensive tackle. He's the best defensive tackle on the team. Hopefully it's not serious and it's something that's going to nag him for the rest of the year. Because last year, he started off slow. He didn't have a good first half of the season. So hopefully, this injury doesn't, slow him down again this year. Okay. And that's another one. I wouldn't be surprised that he gets traded before the trade deadline. Don't be surprised, guys. I'm not saying he is. I don't want him to get traded, but I have a feeling that they want these young guys to succeed. They want these young guys to have all the reps. The Jordan Phillips, Zeke Biggers, and Kenneth Grant. So don't be surprised if let's say by the end of October, mid-October, we're 0-5, 0-4, or 1-4, or whatever. That Zach Sealer doesn't get traded. So hopefully he stays healthy until that time. So we'll see if we're thinking about trading him. Hopefully he can stay healthy, before the trade deadline. Again, I don't want him to get traded, but if he does, hopefully we can get something for him. So yeah, Zach Sealer wasn't playing today, so they were getting some pressure on Jaden Daniels today, but for the most part, he was burning our defense. As far as the front, defensive line goes, again, Zach wasn't there. Kenneth Grant, he really hasn't. I don't think he's really, from what I'm hearing, I don't think he's really made a step up from last year. It's kind of the same player that we're getting so far. Zeke Biggers, kind of the same. Jordan Phillips, kind of the same. He's might have been, they might have improved a little bit, but again, we're not going to know until the regular season starts. You know, yeah, yeah, no, I agree. He's definitely a humble guy. He we poached him off the practice squad, I believe it was from Baltimore, the Ravens, and he's turned out to be really good. One of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, and he is a great leader. Good veteran leadership. We need that with these young guys. So hopefully he comes back soon. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if they do trade him. That just I just have that feeling. I'm not saying I want it. I just have that feeling. Um, So yeah, those guys they gotta start performing a lot better than what they have been if we're gonna make this a competitive. I don't mean by wins, but a competitive football team. Going on the field and fight to the end, and after the game, the teams just say, "Man, these guys put up a fight. They're a lot better than I thought they were. They're physical." You know, that's what I want. Um, but yeah, so that's really about all that I can talk about as far as the joint practices. That was about it. I know they got the game coming up on Friday night, I believe, and so we'll see. I mean, that's the preseason game is going to be telling, right? Um, let's see if these guys can make a jump from the joint practices. Let's see if this front line can get to the quarterback. Let's see if these defensive backs and these cornerbacks can make some plays out there on Friday night against the Washington Commanders. Now, I know a lot of the first team is not going to play, although Halfley did say that everybody's going to play, but he was going to basically evaluate the way the joint practices went. And I guess based on that, he's going to say, all right, you start, whatever. And he'll make his decisions of who starts and all that kind of stuff. But I think Malik will play. I don't know if he's going to play a quarter, if he's going to play half quarter, if he's going to play just a series or two. I don't know. I think, a lot of folks, feel maybe he shouldn't play. I think he should. He's if you think about it, this is the first time in his NFL career that he's gotten first team reps. I mean, he has gotten first team reps when he had, in Tennessee. I know he did, uh, but he's getting all the reps. He's getting 80-90% of the reps in practices. You know, and he's our starter first year as a starter. So yeah, he needs some reps. He needs some reps in the preseason game. He needs to get a feel for what it's going to be like. As a starter, as the number one guy running the offense. So yeah, I want to see him play. Achan doesn't need to play. Maybe one or two carries. That's it. Okay. The Patrick Pauls, we don't need to see play. Uh, Austin Jackson, no, he doesn't need to go in there. We don't. Okay, he needs to be healthy at the start of the regular season. Brewer, maybe he plays a few snaps, a few downs, or maybe not. We know he's an all-pro center, or he should be an all-pro center. He's one of the best centers in football. I don't remember if he was an all-pro last year or not, but he should be if he wasn't. But anyway, um, yeah, he was living in an RV. Yeah, Zach Sealer was living in an RV. You're right. Yep. So we'll see. But that's what I want to see on offense. We need these rookies to start. We need these rookies to go in there and get a lot of reps. Okay. And we need Jonas Evanaya needs to get all the reps he can get too. I'm going to keep an eye on him Friday night as well if he plays. Okay. Defense, those guys need to get reps. Defense, about everybody on defense. I mean, the only one that shouldn't be out there is maybe, Dotson and Brooks, maybe, uh, you know, um, but that's everybody else. They need to start. They need to get some playing time out there. Okay. As I said, we're the youngest team in NFL. These guys need to get thrown into the fire. Okay. They need to see what it's like to play in a game, in an NFL game. Now, grant you, they're not going to be playing against the first team, a lot of them, right? But it's evaluation time for our coaching staff. August 31st comes pretty quick. That's the deadline for cutting to 53. So August 31st comes quick. After the game on Friday night, after this preseason game, the Dolphins, I believe, will be traveling to, or the Giants will be traveling to Miami, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to check. Or maybe you all know. I'm not sure. But they will have a joint practice with the New York Giants. And then they play them in a preseason game. But that's the only joint practice. That'll be the last joint practice they have. They only had 2 this year. And then they play Atlanta, and they won't have a joint practice with Atlanta. That's going to be interesting if Tua Tagovailoa starts, won't it? He's starting this week. I heard coaches have him starting in a preseason game, right? How long he's going to play, I don't know. How many? He's going to play a quarter. He's going to play a series. I don't know, but anyway, I thought I'd throw that in there. But guys, I want to thank you very much for watching tonight. I'll have another show next week. We'll talk about the preseason game against the Commanders, and then the upcoming Giants joint practices as well. Because I'll have another show on Wednesday night, and we can talk about the game plus the New York Giants joint practice. I think they're going to practice on a Wednesday again, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll find out. And either way, we're going to talk about the preseason game against the Commanders and then the upcoming game with the Giants next week. So thanks for joining tonight, and hope you enjoyed the stream. And remember, Dolphins #1, baby. Dolphins #1.